Hello, MPC Anatomy students. Let's talk about the syllabus real quick. Okay, I'm not going to go into super detail on everything here, but I did want to make sure to cover some things that might be a little different than you're used to, and make sure to cover the grading policy and that kind of thing. All right, so remember that this course is asynchronous, which means that we will not be meeting in person, obviously, because everything is virtual, but it also means that we won't have a set time when lectures or labs happen. What instead will happen is you will be assigned everything on usually at the very start of the week. Everything will become available for you to start to work on and on Monday or Tuesday, and then the materials will be due that following Sunday by midnight. Okay, we'll talk more about that in a moment. Okay, so let's quickly go through. I am your instructor, Megan. You can call me Megan, you can call me Miss Knoll, you can call me Professor Knoll. I don't care. It's up to you, whatever you are most comfortable with. Okay. The office hours will be happening through Zoom, and they'll be Mondays through Thursday from 3 to 3:40, and it's only 40 minutes because that's what our allotment of time on the free Zoom version is. I don't know why we don't have the other version, but if that gets updated, I'll let you know. You can also always ask me for an appointment if you need a different time period to talk to me about specific things. I understand that this is just the time period that I'm available. I know I'm available every day. I teach another class, another virtual class that actually is not asynchronous from 9 to 1 every day, and so I'm not available during those times for appointments, but I am available any other time because where else am I going to go in a quarantine? You can, on Mondays through Thursdays between 3 and 3:40, you can click this link and get to the Zoom, and you can just pop in anytime. The password is just Knoll Anat5. If you contact me for an appointment, I'll send you a separate Zoom link with a password, and we'll set up times that way. And again, the best way to contact me is by email. So just make sure you've got that. Also in Canvas, when you email through me to through Canvas itself, it will send me an email to this address, so you don't have to do it to both. I know sometimes people do anyway because they get nervous. I might not get it one way or the other, and if you want to keep doing that's fine, whatever makes you feel better. Just keep in mind that I will get an email through the same email address, depending on if you go do it directly through email this way or through Canvas. Okay, so let's talk about our class format. This class format is both a lecture and a lab. Okay, so you're getting lab and lecture credit, I believe, for this course. And what that means is you will have about 6 hours. Let me make sure to update that. You'll have 6 hours of lecture, recorded lectures per week. And usually I'm going to post those Tuesdays, and hopefully Wednesday. I'm going to try and post them on earlier than Thursdays, but the very latest will be Thursday if it's a short lecture. I want to make sure you have enough time to get everything done. You also have to do about 6 hours of lab work per week. Remember, this course normally is a 15 or 18-week course, and in the summer it's only 8 weeks, so we have to kind of cram everything into an 8-week course, so we're calling 3 times as fast. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. It's very intense. Well, it's at least twice as fast, okay? Additionally, students generally need about 3 hours of study time outside of class for every hour that you have lecture. So if you have 6 hours of lecture, usually just to memorize everything that you need and get materials done, you need 18 hours, okay? So this is a very intense course to take in the summer, and I'm very impressed that you're taking it because it can be done. Don't, look at this and think, oh no, it's too much. There have definitely been many students who have taken it in the summer and have been very successful. Those are students who keep up with their work, okay? So please keep up with your work. Okay, I'm not going to read through student outcomes. I think you guys can read these, etc., etc. Bum, bum, bum. Our textbook, there's a separate video with information about the textbook, so please make sure that you have bought the access code and everything. Let's look at this real quick. That is where you go in Canvas, you go click McGraw-Hill Connect, and then it will walk you through the way that you purchase the textbook. And once you are connected, you should get something that looks like this, and then you can go to the course itself and get all the materials this way. Okay, so you end up you'll get something like this, and as each section opens up, as each week opens up, you'll see the assignments that you have to do that week, okay? This is not all, I'm still working on them. We're working on transferring all the labs to an online system, which we've never done before. Hello, pandemic, it's a very exciting time. Okay, let us go back here. Okay, so please, again, this is just every so often I'm going to remind you, just keep up with your work. If you stay on top of it and you're keeping your information memorized, you're good at memorizing, you're going to do fine. But again, you've got to keep up with the work, and you do that by using Canvas. Okay, so you obviously got to this. Oh, you may have gotten to this video through Canvas. I'm also going to send it in the email just in case. But again, if you are new to all of this, when you go to the MPC website, you're going to want to go to Lobo Apps, okay, which is up here. Once you go to Lobo Apps, you'll go to Canvas and you'll find our course. Dun, 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 waiting on the internet. Okay, once you go here, you get all the courses you are taking or have taken, and ours is the purple one with the bones on it. So Anat5, etc. And it'll open, hopefully it'll open on this homepage. That's what I have set to. And then right now, all you can see will be this one, which, until the class starts officially on June 8th. And then you'll see week 1 materials as I start to fill those in. Okay. And then you'll go through those and get them done as you do. We'll get to the grading in just a second. Oops, wrong document, you guys. I'm going crazy. Okay, so again, make sure you are checking Canvas very often. You cannot wait until the last 2 weeks of class to finish the entire course. You will not be successful. Okay, so please keep up with this work. Okay, all the lectures are going to be posted to Canvas. Some people do also follow me, my channel on YouTube, where I post all the videos. That might get a little confusing because I will be posting videos for other classes, such as the Earth Science class I teach, and some extracurricular dinosaur lectures I do for that class. It's a long story. So the best thing to do is just keep up with your Canvas work, okay? So if for some reason you have issues with Canvas, please make sure to contact the online education desk because they're going to be the ones that can help you, okay? If Canvas doesn't work for you, I'm just going to direct you to them because there's nothing I can do on my end, okay? Keep in mind that the syllabus can change. The only thing that I will be changing at all through any of this are due dates because, and if anything, it'll be to push them back, okay? We'll get to that once we get to due dates. Everything else, such as the grading system, etc., is set in place, and the exam dates are set in place, the due dates for exams, because I don't want to change that. Even if the material we end up doing on the exams gets set back for whatever reason, the dates of the exams themselves will not change, barring any new and exciting thing that ends up happening because we live in very interesting times right now. Okay, again, this class is asynchronous. That means that you'll be getting recordings rather than live updates, okay? If you think that the way I speak on video is annoying, you should picture me in a live situation. It's even more ums, okay? To get credit for this class, you have to either set it up as being a pass-fail class or get at least I believe it's a 70, it might be a 60 depending on your major to pass the course. It might even be an 80 depending on your program. And that's going to be your grade will be set up through 3 practical exams, which are based on the lab material, and 3 lecture exams, which are based on the lecture material. Then the way these break down are based on anatomy versus physiology. So anatomy is the study of the form of things, and physiology is how things work. So anatomy is what it is, while physiology is how it works. And of course, there's a lot of overlap there. Okay, so but the lab practicals themselves will be pulled from lab material, and the lecture exams will be pulled from lecture material, okay? And these are not cumulative, not technically, but some of the things you learn, like the things you learn in the very first lab, will be assumed to be known in the second lab. So the first lab is all about anatomical terminology and gross anatomy, which is not like, ew, gross, but more like stuff you can see. And that means that once you learn what distal means, which means far away, we're going to be using that. Like when we use the words distal, phalanx or something, that you'll have to know what distal means. We won't be going back and reviewing that, okay? Or the something medial, if you have a medial epicondyle, that means it's going to be the condyle that's in the middle part of something rather than the outside of something. And so that you learn the word medial in the first lab and then you end up using it later. So that's the only way that these things are cumulative. Okay. Okay, so the lab practice, the lab practicals are going to be all about identifying specific structures and answering the questions based on the labs, okay? A lot of this stuff is not going to be like, let's see. the way to put it, you have to learn a lot of different pieces of bones or chunk parts of the heart or what muscle connects to what for the lab practicals. But that's the point of this class. And it's kind of fun because these are all things you have in your body unless something weird happened. For example, my brother only has one kidney. Everybody has two kidneys except my brother. He was born with only one kidney. Why? I don't know, but it's amazing. It's one of these things that's very, very interesting to think about. I will point out, guys, I am not a doctor. I am a comparative physiologist. And what that means is I like studying animals to look at how they do anatomy and physiology. I have a skull up there, but it's a goat skull that I was going to compare to the human skull. I'll do it later. And so when someone says, hey, can this thing happen? Look at this rash. I'm going to say, that's really cool. I'm not going to say, oh, you need to treat it with this, because that's not what my background is. I might tell you, you should go to the doctor for that, but I can't. Someone once asked me, oh, I brushed my teeth with someone else's toothbrush and he has HPV, and I said, I don't know how to answer that question, but you should probably go to the doctor. Okay, so keep in mind, I'm not a medical doctor. Okay, you will learn so many things about your body in this class that you will have way more questions than you could ever imagine, and that's kind of the exciting part of this class, but it also can be frustrating if you just want to know everything. One way you'll start to learn a lot is through your lab exercises. So these lab exercises will be in their own modules. Let me show you. Okay, so in the week 1 materials for each week, okay, each week is going to have lab materials and it's going to have lecture materials. So I haven't put the lecture up here, but the lab, you'll open it up and it'll give you instructions about what to do for the lab. It'll give you a detailed introduction, and then it'll go into the different parts, and as you go through there will be things that you need to make sure you can identify. Okay, so for example, I'm pulling from this as we go from the in-person to digital version of the class. Anything that is bolded and has a little checkbox is something that could be on the lab practical. Okay, so each one of these things are things that you need to know to be able to identify on the lab practical. Okay, so you may see this and be like, well, how do I identify some anterior? Well, that's obviously going to be in the context of the questions for the lab. Okay, so the questions for the lab will be, the blah is, so the wrist is blank to the hand. Well, the wrist is here, the hand is here, so the wrist is considered, it is more, it's less distal, it's more medial. It's also, there's different ways to talk about it. We'll talk about it in the lab itself, okay, etc. So that's one of those things you have to know in context of something else. But other things you will have to just know, like straight, if I give you on the lab practical, here is a thing, tell me what it is, you'll have to be able to know what it is. So a lot of these things, you might want to start making a running list of all the lab terms so that you can just start going through them and memorizing where they are, what they're for, etc. Okay, so each lab is going to have your list of things you have to know, and that's what's on the practical. Okay, let me go back to, where's my, all right. Okay, here we go. All right, so that's the lab exercises. At the end of the lab exercise, there also will be questions that you have to answer. Okay, so in order to get credit for the lab, you have to answer these questions. Usually they're multiple choice or matching questions. I do recommend, if you can, printing out the lab or at least sketching a version of the lab diagrams that you'll be, oh my goodness, you'll be identifying, so that you can kind of get practice with like writing out where things are. Our brains are still very keyed into learning through writing rather than just typing, okay? So, or like clicking on a multiple choice answer. So you'll learn a lot better if you write things down. Okay, so some little things about the labs. Labs are could be a mixture of several online activities. We still haven't found the perfect online lab platform, so we're putting things together to make them what we want them to be. They can be repeated one time for credit, especially that first one, because maybe you just don't know. A lot of times the first test is the worst because you're not sure how a teacher gives tests or how they, the language of their tests. And so to get around that, you can repeat the labs once for credit, because in that, while you're doing that, you're still learning, and I'm okay with that. Okay, for every day a lab is late, though, you will be losing 10% of your total grade, so please keep up with your work. There are probably 20 lab exercises, and they're 10 points each. So, if you don't do great on one lab, it's not going to ruin you for the whole course, okay? So do keep that in mind. The the exams, though, those are where you're really going to have to make sure you know your stuff, okay? Okay. I think I've talked a lot about the lecture exam. We'll talk also more about the exams, the practicals and the exams as we get closer to them. And you'll have practice materials for those so that you can kind of get used to practicing. I think also for the lectures, the lecture materials, there's no work that goes in with the lecture material, but I will have practice quizzes at the end of each lecture so that you can make sure you understood what happened in the lecture. Don't just go off of that material, okay? Because I will be pulling the lecture exam questions from the entire lecture. So do make sure you watch those lectures. Some people think, I don't need to watch lectures. I don't want to see your face. Dude, fine, but I hope you already know anatomy if that's the case. It behooves you to make sure you listen to the lectures. Okay? Okay, there'll be lots of secrets that'll help you on the test on that. I'm not going to go into the academic standards. Basically, don't cheat. If you cheat, if you try and submit someone else's work as your own, or if you don't give credit for something, you could be, there's lots of things that could happen. You could be kicked out of school. It could go on a record forever, etc., etc. Please don't make us have to even question that academic dishonesty is happening, okay? All right, don't need to go into that. All right, so how can you be successful in anatomy? Number one, make sure you have access to the textbook. Holy cow. If you don't have online access to the textbook, you're not going to be able to do this class. That's just all there is to it, unfortunately. Make sure you have access and you go through Canvas. Make sure you are keeping up with your due dates. Everything is due by midnight on Sunday of every week, except for the very last week because we end on Friday. And that very last week we'll have fewer assignments as a result. And one thing you can also do is tell people that you're taking this course, because sometimes when we tell people what we're doing, we're more likely to keep up with it. There's a lot of psychology that we can't go into in this class that just says, if you tell someone, hey, I am going to start going to the gym every other day, not that we can right now because of social distancing, but then you're more likely to do it because you told someone. Even if that person literally never thinks about it again, the fact that you've told them is enough that your brain is like, well, now I have to do it, okay? Make sure, okay, this needs to be changed because you can't do that. Well, let's make it instead attend office hours as needed. Okay, so we're still finding things in the syllabi where we need to update them because we are no longer in person. Okay, so attend office hours as needed, make appointments as needed to get any kind of clarification. A lot of this course is literally just memorizing things, so sometimes that's all I can tell you, but other things I might be able to explain it in a different way, so suddenly it clicks and it works better for you, okay? Let's see. Make sure you complete your tasks on time. Make sure you listen to the lectures. I'm not going to read each of these. If you have questions about, oh, how can I do better in this class? I do recommend going through each one. These are lots of, I need to make some Quizlets, okay? Yeah, I will, okay. These are things that students have recommended worked for them in the past, so we just kind of have been putting them all together in this giant list to help future students. Make sure you sleep before your exams. If you pull all-nighters, you actually don't retain your information, so that is not good. Okay, working in groups is good. I will tell you that if you chat in the Canvas app, I will see everything. If you chat in the Canvas portal, that has not gone well for some students in the past who didn't realize that was a thing and who started saying, oh, this course is stupid, and then I could see it and I knew who they were, and I didn't penalize them for that, but I did come in and say, hey, I can see this, please let me know if you have any actual questions. If you're just venting, that is fine. It's also a good way to manage your stress, but it doesn't help me to see it, okay? So do kind of keep that thing in mind. Make sure you are taking care of yourself. Make sure you sleep enough. Make sure you are drinking enough water, etc. Okay, so just make sure that you take care of yourself. You can't take this class if you're not taking care of yourself. Some little important things. Here are your dates for if you need to drop the course, if you want to change it to pass fail, if you need to drop and get a refund, etc. Okay, these are set by the college and not by me, so make sure that you are paying attention. If you don't complete 2 weeks of work, then I will be dropping you. So if you're going on vacation, which I do not recommend doing in the middle of this class, you will get very, very behind because we do 4 labs and 4 lectures a week sometimes. It's very, very intense. So make sure if you do go on vacation, you're still doing your work. But if you suddenly have to leave for a while, but you still want to come back and finish the course, let me know or you might get dropped, okay? Excellent. Keep going. Okay, so here's the part where this is our tentative schedule. I'm still updating it to make sure the readings haven't been changed in this new version of the textbook compared to what I've used in the past. But it does tell you, so for week 1, which is the first week of class, there is from Monday the 8th through Sunday the 14th, everything that is within the lecture and the lab modules, all of that is due. Anything that could be due, which maybe I'll make this due also, like things that are due. Things due. So this will be like lab 1, lab 2, etc. And this is the due date for them, Sunday, June 14th by midnight. Okay, so literally before midnight, because then that becomes the next day. Again, the labs, for every day that you don't do them, you lose 10% of your overall grade, so please make sure you complete them. Okay. Excellent. You'll see your very first exam is going to be due by the 2nd week. Okay. Oh, I need to update that. 20. Yes, everything is insane. So by Sunday, the 21st by midnight, please make sure you have completed that exam. The exams cannot be made up. Okay, so you must get it done by that day. Same thing with the lab practicals. Okay, I'm going to go and fix all this. By the time you're seeing this, all of this is updated and beautiful. So when we do the labs, it might move around, but the lab practical, the lecture exams, those due dates will be set, and they will not change. So that is very important. That is all that's in the syllabus. I think I've already talked enough about it, so we'll go ahead and stop there. If you have any questions, please email me, and have a good rest of your day.